What's up, everybody? It is We Talking About Sports. I got my boy Ben here. How you doing this
What
morning,
up? What
Ben? We're gonna
up?
get into some nice fantasy four. Oilo. I didn't even drink last night. Look, I got the coffee with me right now. What are you drinking before we start?
Yeah, I'm drinking some Corona Premier, but we're gonna be getting into some NFL Week 4 fantasy talk, some sit or bench, some best bets. I mean, some starts of the week. So I'm eager to get into it. Tottenham and Manchester United are going right now, also on the pitch. So we got a little bit of toddy to the body before we get this NFL
Yeah.
kickoff at noon. So let's get in and out of here.
All right, man. Let's get it. I am just sharing it on Facebook. If you have us on social media, we're about to go live right now. We are live. Share it, like it up. Week 4. Let's get into it, man. Yes, I loved it. I hope y'all like the new intro. Decided to change it up a little bit here because it's week 4 and it's so exciting that we're already 4 weeks in. But it's been crazy, huh, Ben? Everybody
It
that you
has.
drafted is playing like shit. Everybody that you didn't draft is going off. How's your season looking?
Well, not necessarily like that. I mean, maybe in one of the leagues, I know me and you are battling as the two lower seeds in one of our keeper leagues this week. So it's the toilet bowl, me and you. Let's see, may the best man win this week. But no, I already had an early start. I had my league neighbors go on Thursday. He did the
Alan.
usual. He got me 17 points in a half point PPR league. So full point, I know he was in the 20s. Did end up getting concussed there at the end of the game. I know Aubrey missed a field goal that nobody expected at the end of that game to ruin the cover. And, in some leagues, add an extra 4 points to everybody's fantasy score. So,
For real.
fantasy football has begun already with Thursday night Cowboys taking on the Giants, minus 5.5. I think the line was Cowboys end up winning by 5. Very close game, a lot of field goals in that game. If you had either kicker, you did decent. But yeah, eager to get into this Sunday. I know we had that Georgia Alabama game last night. Were you able to catch that at all, Ron?
I did it, man, because I was doing stuff for the nursery here and getting it ready. But I heard there was
There you
fireworks.
go.
I'm sure Justin's going to talk about it during the week. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Roland. They couldn't be with us today. But when me and Ben do the show, it's like, hey, boom, boom, boom. We're going to get into it. It's 10:40 Central Time. The games don't kick off for another 20 minutes, but we want to get you out of here so you can go tinker, do with your lineups, do your DraftKings, put in your bets, whatever it is you got to do that. All right, so let's get into the first information that we got for today. This comes from Roland. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is the schedule here. So because Roland and Justin on here, that means there might be some, little hiccups here and there. There might be some technical difficulties. So just bear with us, boys and girls. So like Ben said, we mentioned the Thursday night game. We already had the Cowboys and the Giants. Some revenge games here. You have Aaron Jones going against Green Bay. You have Andy Dalton against the Cincinnati. But hey, man, who isn't Andy Dalton's ex team, right?
At
Sunday
this
night
point, yeah.
football. Your ex team, your ex squad, the Bills versus the Ravens. That should be a great game to end the night tonight. And then tomorrow, another back to back, or I shouldn't say back to back, but simultaneous casting of Monday Night Football. The Titans go to the Dolphins and Seattle goes to Detroit. I think there might be some fireworks there. What games stick out and what do you look forward to the most here?
Yeah, there's a lot of good games this week. I mean, I know we're going to talk about Survivor at the end, even though none of us are in it anymore. But, for some of the listeners, I know Ryan, who's on here with us usually on Sundays, is still alive. Marky's still alive in the
Marky, shout
Survivor
out
as well.
Marky.
So
For
shout
not
out the
inviting us.
chat as well. Shout out Mondo. Shout out Josh. I'm looking forward to this Vikings going to the Packers. We know Jordan Love is back. We'll get into that in the injury report. I think the Steelers going to the Colts also is a really good game. And then, like you said, Sunday Night Football, the Bills visiting the Ravens. We know the Ravens are 1-2 right now. The Bills 3-0. So this game is in Baltimore. It should be a tight one. The Ravens, I believe, are 2-point favorites right now. And then Monday night, you got the Fugazi 3-0 Seattle Seahawks going to visit the Detroit Lions. I expect the Lions to take care of business tomorrow night.
Yeah, same, man. All right, so like I said, we just keep it moving here, baby. We keep it moving. We're gonna hit y'all with the injury report real quick. Some huge names. We'll start off at the top. Roland always throws those. Devontae Adams is officially out. Alvin Kamara was questionable. I believe he's going to play. The whole story going on with 49ers and CMC, we know he'll be done for a while. After losing their number one wide receiver, the Eagles come back and lose their number two wide receiver, Devontae Smith. He's out. Trey McBride, Trey McChicken, the way Marky calls it, concussion. He's out as well. Any other names here, Ben? That I know you have Olave on your squad. I'm not sure else who you had, but anybody that affects your team or anybody that you want to shout out here?
Definitely affected by a lot of these guys on here. Devontae Adams, I have him on two squads. AJ Brown, and Trey McChicken. So yeah, on some of these questionable guys, we have got an official word. Tank Dell is out. Chris Olave will play. Jordan Love will play. Justin Herbert will play. Tank Dell is out. Austin Eckler is out. Rachaad White is in. Joe Mixon is out. Evan Ingram is out. And David Njoku will play. So
okay, some updates
most
here.
of those have already been confirmed. Kamara was another one that might not have played. He is going to play. Gabe Davis will play. I will say, if you are a Rachaad White owner, it's a groin injury. Him being, even game time decision. They've already talked about getting Bucky Irving, maybe a little bit more carries. I would pump the brakes on Rachaad White. I don't know about starting him this week. That's what I will say about one of the guys that is active this week.
All right, I like it. Did I lose you or you lose me?
No, we're still here.
We're good? Oh, shit.
Yeah,
okay,
I was
okay.
done.
Sorry.
I thought that usually you're supposed to talk after I finish.
Nah, because I'm telling you, I'm since like Roland and Justin aren't here, I'm having to control shit over here on the side and all that, bro. So my bad. My apologies.
Keenan Allen, somebody who's been out a couple of these weeks, he has been rolled in for the Bears. So Keenan Allen is active this week.
Keenan Allen, all right. And we got a question already from Josh. So today, if there's a question up there, we're gonna stop what we're doing and we're gonna get to the question. So do we like the overs on Bills versus Ravens? I would say yes, because the Ravens defense, especially the secondary, is like atrocious.
Hey, put Mondo's comment on the screen.
Let's see.
Put Mondo's comment on the screen. Mondo says, also is Marky's dog. Also shit in the house, so Marky's on cleaning duty right now. Couldn't happen to a better guy, Mondo. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Marky, shout out to Dukes, man. Shout out to Dukes. Let's get back to Josh's question. I say yes, Josh. What do you think right here, Ben? Bills and Ravens, overs or not?
I mean, we've seen that they both like to run the ball, but the Sunday nighters, you usually get the drama. I don't think that it's a ridiculous number, Josh. I don't have the number on the top of my head. So if you can throw the number in the chat, I do believe that it was like mid 40s or lower 40s, if I'm not mistaken. But throw the number in the chat before I answer that question, because I don't know the number.
All right. So you want to go over, or no, I'll hit it here. Roland's week 4 must starts. Deontay Johnson, Zach Moss, and Scary Terry. As far as Deontay Johnson goes, Cincinnati defense has allowed wide receiver ones back-to-back games. 8 catches, 14 targets. And he has a nice, I'm assuming, link with Andy Dalton. No Adam Thielen, the OG, finally got a touchdown last week, and then he got hurt, so he's out. And then minimal target competition. I know Leggett is over there, no, Ben? But do you think he'll take any targets away or no? Because he was kind of banged up too, right?
He had about 3 catches last week, but with Roland right here, he even talked about, we both talked about a little bit last week with, the change to Dalton and a competent quarterback. But Johnson killed it last week. He was at 20-point plus. He was in the top 10 receivers for fantasy scoring. So, yeah, having him up there is no surprise, especially with Thielen out. We know he's old reliable. Today they're playing the Bengals. The Bengals have played some higher scoring games, and we've seen their defense give it up. So with Deontay Johnson, he was up a game time decision, but with him being able to get the go today, I do like him a lot as well. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go with Zach Moss because he's actually one of my flexes today, bro. He's going against the Cardinals defense, who's 27th ranked versus running backs this year. They've allowed almost 5 yards per
Panthers
carry.
defense.
Oh, I'm
They're
sorry.
playing each other.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. 125 yards per game through week 3, and Moss does lead backs. Now, Chase Brown was there, but we've seen him kind of pop up at the beginning and then digress. Zach Moss looks like he's running a little harder, a little stronger, and he doesn't get poached on the goal line. He's the one that you want to use at the goal line. So even if Chase Brown kind of gets you there on a random series, they'll probably come in with Zach Moss, drop the hammer, and get you into the end zone. Go ahead and cover Scary Terry here, my guy, because you got that Jaden Daniels on your fantasy squad, and he's killing it for you. So I know you're familiar with the Commandos.
Yeah, I like Jaden Daniels a lot. I'm starting him this week over Jalen Hurts in the league that I have both owners. Obviously, Jalen Hurts without AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, so that's the reasoning behind it. But Scary Terry, we saw him link up with a touchdown last week, a late touchdown. They just needed a first down. Ends up linking up with Scary Terry for a touchdown. I think that's back-to-back weeks that he has touchdowns, linked up on a couple of deep balls. They're a very efficient offense with Daniels up there. We know that he's one of those quarterbacks that played 4 years in college before going to the NFL, unlike most of these other top quarterbacks that only do their 2 years and book it to the league. He's a little more experienced. He's a little more composed. And I think that we saw that last Monday night against the Bengals. So Scary Terry is back to being, start wide receiver 2. It was up in the air sometimes with some of the other weapons. They got rid of Dotson. So Scary Terry has been, a start every week so far this fantasy season. He's in the top 20.
Yeah, you always like to have players on your roster that the offense is clicking right now, and that seems to be Washington. Let's move it along, going over to some more must starts. These are mine right here. I'm going back to the well, dog. You can't hate me on this one. He gave me a touchdown late last week that kind of salvaged his day. Robinson the second, I think he only ended up at like 11 points. But this week he's going against Arizona. That's why I said Arizona earlier, because I thought I was talking about my guy. He's projected at 15.4 points, almost 16. Hey, who knows? He can get you over a 20 piece today with no Austin Eckler. He had a concussion last week, Ben. He's out. And now it opens up for Robinson to cover all 3 downs. And he's decent coming out of the backfield as well. He's no sleeper catching the rock. Moving on, George Pickens. I'm not going to say this is a George Pickens game, but when you're playing the Colts, it could always be your game because it could always be your day. He's only projected at 12.1. I think he gets a little bit more than that. With Fields being undefeated and being named the starter, you would assume that he doesn't have that pressure anymore, that Russell's going to be there and, hey, I can't mess up because they're going to take my job. So I think he's more relaxed.
Russell Wilson inactive this week, so he's
There's
not even
one.
dressing up. He might still be in pads, even though he's inactive because he's Russell Wilson, and that's what his weird ass does. Ron, just a quick stat: George Pickens still without a touchdown this year. This might be the week. This might be the week that George Pickens gets his touchdown. We've seen a lot of receivers have their way with this Colts defense, so I'm not mad at that.
Let's get to John's question. I said if there's a question today, we're gonna get to it right away. He's saying, how do y'all feel about Davante Adams out? And I'm assuming he means, how do we think that Myers is going to go today?
Myers. Right.
Yeah.
I don't like anything except the tight end right now for the Raiders offense with Adams out. Yeah. Pause. But no, the tight end out of Georgia, man, his name
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, yeah, beast. I like him today. There's question marks at QB, Ron. I wouldn't. If it's going bad, it's against the Cleveland Browns defense that's pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls Minshew. He was already threatening a QB change right after the week 2 loss or week 3 loss. So I wouldn't be surprised to see O'Connell in the second half of this game. I just don't want to start Myers with that many question marks for the Raiders. No.
Yeah, same. I don't think that. I mean, even if you look at your roster, there's got to be somebody that's a little bit more decent than, Jacoby Myers out there. And you're probably running them as a flex. So who knows? You can go get a running back that might be available, or just say, go that old school fantasy mentality and rather have a
It's
running back
because,
at your flex,
but Big John likes to
regardless.
carry 4 defenses on his bench. So he always likes to have a defense on the go. Cause
Hey man, he just comes and puts a comment, and you gotta fucking throw a little jab at him.
get
It's
into
just
your
a
last
flex
guy. Get
option.
into
You
your last
see?
guy.
Yeah. All right, Khalil Shakir,
Good
720
flex
tonight.
option right there, Khalil Shakir.
Khalil Shakir. He's gonna be one of my must starts. I'm upgrading him today from the practice squad. 11.9 points. I think he gets a lot more than that. We've seen the connection grow with him and Josh Allen, and it doesn't hurt that Josh Allen is the one throwing him the ball. And that's it. Let's move on, bro. Flex zone. It says
He's wide receiver 17 on the season, Khalil Shakir. So surprising.
it's
Somebody's
only
got to
gonna
be the number one for the Bills, though.
yeah.
Josh
It's only
Allen's
gonna,
on an MVP campaign, and he needs somebody to be his number one.
I think it only gets better for Khalil Shakir, honestly. All right, this is flexes of the week: Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tony Pollard, and Chuba Hubbard. Ben, take us through the flexes of the week, man.
Yeah,
Okay, if you have these three guys,
Chuba Hubbard.
not that you might, which one are you just like automatic?
Chuba Hubbard. I'm
Okay.
starting him in several leagues. A little late. I didn't start him. I started him in one league, not in the other last week. Kind of missed the boat. He exploded last week when they beat the crap out of who did they upset last week? The Raiders.
The rate.
That's who they beat the crap out of. They hung 40 on the Raiders. So
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard, I think, is a no-brainer right here. Smith and Njigba, he's had one good game. I don't know if people really started him that game because week 1 and 2 he played pretty bad, or week 1 he played pretty bad, and I think he had it week 2, and then week 3 he shit the bed again, 5 or 6 points. I'm not the biggest fan of Smith and Jigba. I like Hubbard. I like Hubbard out of all three, and Tony Pollard just based off the carries that he's getting. I mean, he's getting 15 plus carries, close to 20. So just based off that, you got to like him. But with Will Levis in the backfield, I mean, you never know if they're going to be in the red zone. Yeah.
Tough, bro. To me, not Jackson Smith and Jigba, but some other guys like Tyler Lockett would be a long flex. But I think today, or I'm sorry, I should say tomorrow on Monday night, that game's going to be fireworks, and there's going to be a lot of points. I like a stack between like Geno and maybe Jackson Smith and Jigba here as a flex, or Geno and DK. If you have, like I said, if you're hurting for receivers or a super flex option, Tyler Lockett could finally have a breakout week this way as well to stay with the boys over there in Seattle.
I've been starting the Chargers defense, and this week they play the Chiefs. So it was kind of skimpy on the wire. I picked up the Lions against the Seahawks.
Yeah, Lions ain't bad, but
I don't think the Seahawks are a real 3-0, bro. I don't they're not.
They played some bad teams, huh?
Yeah, they're not that good.
I'm not going to cover my flex zone because they were pretty much the same as Roland. Great minds think alike. Chuba Hubbard, Tony Pollard, and one of his starters was Zach Moss. So those are three guys that we want to pay attention to because it looks like all the eggs are in the basket there for we talking about sports. So we better not throw out the fucking, the goose egg. All right, Ben, I brought this up. Stream and sit. There are guys that are playing against each other today. Fields projected at 16.5. AR5 projected at 15.9. Where these guys were drafted, you're a big draft guy. Where these guys were drafted, where these guys were supposed to be at. I mean, Fields wasn't even a starter. You have him in week 4 of your fantasy 2024 year, projected more points than Mr. Anthony Richardson. How does that make you feel, dog? And would you do this today?
100%. I mean, I've been a big Anthony Richardson hater since the beginning. I didn't think that he was good throwing the ball. So far, I'm right. I mean, I still think it's too soon to have that parade, but it's not looking very good. And then they're playing each other.
Yeah.
Mind you. So the Steelers have the number 1 defense in the NFL so far.
Yes, sir.
And then you got a guy that can't throw the ball. I mean, Michael Pittman, we were talking about, should we hang on to him or should we cut him on the Wire show this Tuesday, Roland and I. So I think that here you can start Fields. As bad as the Colts defense has been, there's probably 2, possibly 3 touchdowns for the Steelers today. And Fields has that running ability as well. We saw him score a rushing touchdown last week. Bro, it's going to be a long day for Anthony Richardson against TJ Watt and the Steelers defense. The guy, he's just not good, man. He's not a good quarterback. He can't throw
Anything
the ball.
you feel like anything up the middle, he has trouble reading, and a lot of these shots down the field have been like these bombs to like Alec Pierce,
Yeah, he
who
has
is
a rowdy arm. Like he has a crazy
yeah,
arm, but
but
the
that's really all you've
accuracy,
seen.
yeah, he completes like 10 passes a game, 12 passes a game. Like, how do you feel good starting any of those receivers when there's only 12 completions a game?
If you have Jonathan Taylor sitting there in the backfield too as well, you would assume they would use him to open up the passing game. But last game he rushed for over 100 yards. He didn't have a tutty, and that still didn't open anything up.
Yeah,
So
luckily Taylor's been pretty good for fantasy owners this
yeah,
year. I mean, you can't
myself.
complain too much. He's been all right. But no, yeah, this week I think that he is a sit this week. Anthony Richardson. I mean, even if it's not Fields, if you have like a Sam Darnold,
Mhm.
it's just yeah. I don't think that you start Anthony Richardson this week.
All right, man. Moving on. Thanks for everybody that's here watching. If you're watching, go ahead and throw the like on the share. I'm seeing like a bunch of people are popping up on our Facebook feed. It's just, so and so was watching, so and so was watching. I don't want to call out any any names, but we're getting some good traffic today. We appreciate you guys. Moving on to best bets. Big Pat, you're here. You're on the screen. Run us through your best
Yeah,
bets, man.
I kind of just talked about how Anthony Richardson, I'm not a fan of playing that number one defense. The Steelers have been undefeated. I think this is one of those 50-50 games on their schedule that they have to have if they're going to make the playoffs. Surprisingly, 3-0. I like them to go 4-0 and at least win by a field goal here. After that, we got the Bucks at home against the Eagles. It's going to have to be a whole lot of Saquon, and I'm not saying Saquon can't win the Eagles the game on his own, but with no Devontae Smith, with no A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert had a God mode game last week when they snuck that win out against the Saints. I like the Bucks here at home after losing to the Broncos to get a win. So getting plus 1.5, I'll take the Bucks. And then at 305, the Cards and the Commanders. We talked about how both of these quarterbacks are probably in top 5 this week after it's all said and done. You got a number like 49, like both teams to get hopefully into the 30s and get way past this number. So I like the over there. And then a little 2-team teaser, 6 points. So you take the Chiefs from 7 down to 1, and the Texans from -5.5 to +0.5. Pretty much both teams just got a win today. Chiefs have Herbert is going to play, I believe, for the Chargers, but you can't like the Chargers' chances in that one. And then the Texans, bad showing last week, got a rebound.
I was gonna say, dog, that was my next
Yeah.
point right there. They got blown out.
Last week they did
They
get
look
blown out in Minnesota. It was a pretty rowdy environment inside of that dome. That's what all these players were saying. But it was a bad showing this week. They got the Jaguars. We've seen what the Jaguars have done. I mean, they're
nothing.
kind of just an auto fade at this point. So, yeah, Texans at home, like them to get back on track.
Possibilities of sending the Jaguars to 0-4 on the season. All right, Ben. Thanks for your inputs right there. Let's go moving on to prop it like it's hot. I have Mr. Josh Allen over 231.5 passing yards at Baltimore. I had some notes on this, but everything just got erased when I was going back and forth between screens earlier, dog. So I'm just gonna have to just break it down as best as I can. So over 231.5 versus Baltimore. If I'm not mistaken, Baltimore has given up 900 passing yards this year. And if you look at those numbers, even if his receivers aren't the Stephon Diggses and Kincaid hasn't been the best, you hear 231.5, you think of Josh Allen, you're going to take that bet automatically. Also, over 52.5 receiving yards for Mr. Jaden Reed. Ben, you're going to have to let me know if Jordan Love is back at the time of this recording. I heard rumors that he is. He's been good at practice. He's officially active. Confirmed he's active. That's even more of a reason for this 52.5 versus Minnesota. Minnesota hasn't allowed a lot of touchdowns to wide receivers, bro, but they have given it up a lot between 20-yard lines, which is good. You would assume a possible negative game script because Minnesota has just been beating everybody or at least staying competitive. So you don't feel like Green Bay is going to take a big lead where they're going to have to run the ball and feed Josh Jacobs. Regardless of it, 52.5 receiving yards is a play for me. It opened up at 46.5. So if you didn't get it back then, you can still get it now. but it's looking like it's trending in the right direction. One more that I have here for you guys is it's not like Joe Burrow, in 15 years, but fuck, I don't know, maybe it could be, dog. Joe Burrow versus Andy Dalton. Give me the over 47 here. The Bengals offense to me is clicking a little bit more. We talked about Zach Moss earlier. He has his full plethora of receivers in Higgins. We've seen a new receiver that Justin and Roland talked about on the waiver wire show two weeks ago. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name. It's the tall guy. He starts with an I, the young kid. Ben, go ahead and try it for me.
I think, I don't know. I was going to say Ilyasova, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what
Ilyasova
it
or
is.
something like that.
Roland. Hey, Roland has been on a little "Is Joe Burrow legit?" campaign or not.
Hey, that's why I got the cap, dog.
I mean, if Joe Burrow loses this one,
0-4 as well. Speaking of the Jags going 0-4, we could see a possibility of the Bengals going 0-4 and against Carolina to top it all off. So that's my play right there, over 47. I think one of our last slides here is just the full breakdown of all the plays. You want to cover Rollins?
Did you see the video of T. Higgins telling the fan, like, yeah, don't start me?
Yeah, I saw that. He's like walking from practice, right?
Yo, I'm going to listen. I'm not going to start him. Yeah, I'm starting Deontay Johnson over T. Higgins. Like, get out of here, T. Higgins. Yeah, let me go over Roland's plays if I can see them. They're small as shit. He's got
Nico Collins. Oh, here, I'll read them for you, and then you just tell me how you feel. Nico Collins over 5.5 catches.
Yeah, Nico, he's supposed to, like we said, big bounce back week. I can see them now. Okay, Nico over 5.5 catches.
Yeah.
In fantasy, he's projected a top 5 wide receiver. Going into the week, so you gotta like it. You think he's going to get fed often and early. No Tank Dell, so that's one of the options out. That's at least another 4 or 5 targets to go around. So yeah, I do like it. Then he's got Roma Dunes over 2.5. Now with Keenan Allen being ruled active, I don't know if Roland was privy to that information prior to that, but I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the Bears. Also, I've shitted on Caleb Williams a lot, so I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I think he's gonna get it done. I like his teaser here though. He took the Texans down to PK in a 6-point tease, and the Jets down to -2. Jets, another popular survivor pick this week, going up against the Broncos. You got to think that they're able to get the field goal win against the Broncos. This is one that the Jets, said, yep, that's a dub looking at the schedule, when it came out earlier in the season. So I do like that teaser a lot.
Yeah, man, the Nico Collins play is probably the best one here, just because you mentioned that Tank Dell was out and the bounce back game. CJ Stroud's going to want to show out. They're doing it against the defense that hasn't been great over there in Jacksonville either. So all those factors kind of line up with Nico having a great game.
Yep.
All right, well, run through mine again. Cincinnati and Carolina over 47. Josh Allen over 231 passing yards. Jaden Reed over 52.5. Run down yours, and I think that's it, man. We can get out of here.
We can talk a little bit about Survivor.
You want to move to Survivor? Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it this week, I know it's not week 2, it's now week 4, but we've got, looking at the Chiefs against the Chargers, I think is going to be a pretty popular pick. The San Francisco 49ers, we know that they had a big letdown loss last week against the Rams. So they're playing the Patriots this week. I don't see them losing that game. And then you got the Jets against the Broncos, who I think is going to be another popular pick. If you were still in the competition run, I know last week we all got wiped out with the Bengals again. And who did you get wiped out with?
I got wiped out with the Bucks, dog, versus
Denver.
Bo Nix looked like an absolute star.
And it was never close. That one you kind of knew, like, all right, I lost, because Denver was moving the ball. Who would you go? Who do you like this week? Who would you target this week? The Niners are 10-point favorites.
Let's see. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go back to let's make it easy. Let's go back to the slate. How many Coronas have you had already, bro?
2, and I'm out.
Yeah. You run
I
to the
wish
store?
I had some mimosas. Nah, I'm not running to the store. I'm not leaving my house.
All right, let's see then. Who would we pick? Who would you pick in Survivor? Anybody in the chat? If you're looking at the slate and you're still in your Survivor, or you would be, Who are you going for here? The
I didn't
Chiefs.
see if anybody went with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys might have been a decent pick.
True, but on the road, the way they played, that would have been tough, man. Oh,
The Chiefs
the
against the
Steelers.
Chargers.
Yeah, I would go like right off the bat, real quick. Steelers, Chiefs, Niners, because of that heartbreak loss. You would
And at
think that.
home against the
Yeah,
Patriots. I think the Niners is the obvious pick this week, bro. I really do.
I think so as well. Because you could say the undefeated Bills, but are you really gonna pick them to
No,
go
not
into
on the
Baltimore?
road.
Like I
You
wouldn't
wait
say
till
like for
you wait till
sure.
the Bill. If you didn't take the Bills last week, which the Texans might be in play at home, bounce back game against the Jags. If you haven't taken the Texans yet, the Bills play the Patriots twice. You got to wait until they play the Patriots and take them there.
I mean, if you have absolute faith, or say you've already picked the good teams,
I'd go
like you have
Niners.
already,
Niners is the pick, bro.
Niners is definitely the pick. But say you've kind of like one of those guys who take some like the really favored teams, and you've already picked the Niners and the Chiefs. I could see the Browns going to Vegas. They looked decent
Yeah,
last time.
with no Crosby, no Devontae Adams. Now they lost to the Giants. The
Yeah.
Browns. They cost me my Survivor entry.
But the Giants did look like all world that week.
I mean, they
with
got
neighbors
fucking
going
neighbors. Yeah, I would go 49ers for the record. Imaginary
49ers.
pick. Yeah.
All right, that's it, man. We kind of ran it. We're running on 31 minutes here. We gave you what you needed. We gave you fantasy advice. We gave you best bets. We'll come back. Follow us on social media, and we'll let you know how our plays did. If they sucked, you're not gonna see them. I'll tell you that.
Nah, you'll see.
Like for real, bro.
We'll be back Tuesday for the Wire show, and we'll recap. We do need to do a recap.
Yeah, we do.
We've been running all right. We've been running pretty good.
Who I was gonna say, who were some of your waivers, real quick, if you can remember, for Tuesday?
I got the Chiefs defense because I didn't think Herbert was going to start, and like I said, I've been running the Chargers, so I didn't want to start the Chargers against the Chiefs. I wanted to start the Chiefs against the Chargers. That, and then at running back, I tried picking up Bucky Irving, but Markey just completely overspent on him. Bro, whatever.
How much did he spend?
He spent like 50 some on him. I put 30, 35 or 38.
Was he the one who somebody said went out and spent 150 on Likely and then the rest of the 50 on
75 on Likely.
75 on Likely.
Some on Bucky Johnson.
Jim Markey. Hey, he's in it to win it, pal.
He
but
is.
before we go, we are playing each other this week. So as a gentleman of the fantasy football world, best of luck.
The worst of luck to you, brother. I'm no
You're
gentleman when it comes to fantasy football. Yeah, and I shouldn't be. I'm 0-3 because of Tyreek Hill and Brandon Ayuk.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, all right, who am I? You know, when you first find out who you're playing, you go to the matchup, right? You hit matchup on your fantasy screen, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm playing Ben, and it's like 0-3. 1, I was shocked. 2, I'm like, all right, well, who the fuck does he have?
Nobody
he must have
needed
some
to
bums.
know all that information, bro.
Dog,
my roster's stacked, bro.
I looked at your lineup and I'm like, how the hell is this dude 0-3? Like, I'm in it this week if all your squad goes off. I mean, you could easily put up over 200.
Well, Devontae Adams was rolled out, so I lost him for this week. But I mean, I have Ayuk, I have Tyreek Hill at wide receiver, and those two guys have just been duds. And then I have Chuba Hubbard, Aaron Jones, and James Cook. Aaron Jones and James Cook have been money. Jaden Daniels at quarterback. Like, the squad's all right. I have the most points scored on me, so far in that league. So I've been playing some high scores. But this week, I mean, I think I can get on the board here against you. I really think I can get on the board here.
The Coach Walanga's Mud Dogs.
Yeah,
you're the MAGA 47. Look, all right, so
you're out Pacheco and you're out Puka, right?
I got Pacheco on the IR. I think Kittle's back today. Thanks for reminding me. I need to insert Kittle here.
Kittle and Debo are back. That's why I think the Niners are the pick.
Okay, I'm running Ertz, so I'll take him out and put Kittle. Justin Tucker's been Mr. Reliable to Mr. Missing everything in the world. I benched him, went out and got a kicker from Washington, your squad. Picked up Cordell Patterson, and Puka Nacua is out. So today I have Stroud versus your Daniels, Jonathan Taylor versus your James Cook, DeAndre Swift versus your Aaron Jones. DJ Moore versus your Ayuk. Christian Kirk versus your Tyreek Hill. George Kittle versus your Muth. Alan Lazard versus Chuba Hubbard. San Francisco D versus your Detroit D. The Siebert from Washington kicker versus Boswell. Should be interesting, pal. Boz. All right, best of luck.
I
Let's
should
get the hell out of here.
smack you, bro. My team should tear you up, bro. We'll probably come back Tuesday and I'll be 0-4. That's just the season.
That'd be great. I'm not gonna lie. All right, that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like and share. We will be back Tuesday, and if you can, follow us on social media on Instagram and on Facebook. We put out some cool shit throughout the week. College, MMA, boxing.
Yeah,
we talking sports.
We got a UFC pay-per-view coming up this week, so we should have a Tap Hour show coming sometime this week.
That'll work.
Pereira against Khalil Roundtree in Utah.
Go get high in them Rocky Mountains. I think that's right.
That's Colorado.
But they still all run through there, I think.
Probably.
With that,
peace.
We're out.
Let's get out of here.